Clap on three.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. Welcome, everyone, back to episode 8 of the BettorOff Premiercast. We are back after our very own international break. Dan's abroad, back in his homeland. But you know what that means, right, Jordan?
Finally, just the two of us.
Finally, we're going to hit our 20 to 30 minute mark. All right, well, we're here breaking down match week 8 of the Premier League. A pretty eventful international break, I would say. England just drew with Hungary, which I didn't see coming. Hungary fans fought with police at the England game, which is
we
to
all
be
saw
expected.
coming.
Yeah, which is to be expected at this point. But now we're back just with club football, so let's get into it. We're starting off on Saturday. No Friday games this week. We have Liverpool traveling to Watford. Liverpool's a minus 285 favorite. Watford comes in at plus 800. Put some respect on Watford. And the over-under is set at 3. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, the odds makers, are kind of going with the general consensus of what everybody thinks and expects to happen anyways. Watford has been one of those teams that's kind of, just up from relegation or just up from promotion. It seems like Sarr, the only goal scorer they really have on that team, is kind of holding them up in some games. And then Liverpool is just dominant. This should be an easy win for them, but I'm sure Dan would say if he was here. He's not dead, everybody. He's just not here. He'd say this could be a close one. It could go either way. So, but I'm going to go with a heavy Liverpool win here over Watford.
Yeah, and my book has the spread at minus 1.5 for Liverpool. I'm not in love with that. Like Dan has talked about many times, that Liverpool seems to need 8 chances a game to put up more than one. So I'm not really a fan of that. Not really a fan of any of the bets. Over under 3, again, it could definitely be a 2-0 win for Liverpool. But I'm looking at this as a parlay fodder. Definitely something I'm going to be looking at once we go through some more lines here. But I think Liverpool's a pretty solid bet here. They're on the road, but Watford really hasn't been showing up this season. So we're going to move on to your boys. They're at home this weekend. They are welcoming Cristiano Ronaldo. And Leicester's underdogs. We should just get that out of the way. Plus 265, Manchester United plus 110. They're your boys. Do they pull this out?
It's an interesting one. Leicester has the ability to hunker down. Now, in the past, we've normally had a nice, solid defense with a leader in it, like a Johnny Evans or a Wes Morgan. Well, Johnny Evans is hurt. Soyuncu can't really lead that back line. I hate saying it's going to be a tough one, but it's going to be a tough one. I just don't see how we win this, especially with the talent of Manchester United. But anything can happen, when there's a Vardy party, getting set up. So, I mean, he's been doing well lately. We do have the benefit of not having a ton of, Vardy doesn't play internationally. He retired. We've got some of the players like Tielemans and Castagna playing for Belgium. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I don't expect us to win. What's the line at?
Right now, my book has it at 0.25. So half your money's on Pick'em, half of it's at plus a half. So, and that's at plus 105.
Yeah, and I think that's they're kind of saying, just kind of what I said is that, Leicester City do have the ability to, when they want, we're sitting back and you're not going to score and we're going to play on the counter. So it'll be interesting. I'll always back my boys.
Just not with that big of a bet this week.
Just not that yet.
Maybe a little bit.
This will be one of those dollar bets. This will be one of those if I have Bitcoin promotion bets.
The free play.
Yeah, this will be I sign up for a new bookie to make this bet kind of bet.
I do like under 2.75. like you said, Leicester, they're capable in the back this year. They can hunker down. And we've seen, Man United not be able to break teams down. Their last game before the international break was Everton. Um, drew 1-1. They lost to Aston Villa without scoring. Barely squeaked out West Ham 2-1. I mean, teams are starting to figure it out, I think. Um, and Leicester has the talent, and honestly, I don't mind the under here. Maybe a little bit on the spread, but we're gonna have to see.
It's gonna be fun to watch. My brother's a massive Manchester United fan, and as much as I hate it, is one of my scarves back there.
One of the many,
One of the
but
many scarves.
I think this is a great game for Leicester to come back from international break. They're not coming back against a team that's gonna, you know, they're gonna walk over. They're going to need to come out sharp, and it's gonna get them up to speed fast to really make sure they get the most out of. They're coming up against Brentford, uh, Arsenal, Leeds. Hopefully, they can take. I don't know what's successful out of that. Do you think minimum 6 out of those 3?
Honestly, we're sitting with barely any points as it is with who we've played. We just have to get enough points to get us into that closer to that top 6 spot, with some confidence. I mean, we're headed into Christmas where the games, I know it's a month or so away, but it comes fast, and then the
Mm-hmm.
games start coming thick and fast. And that has not been a good time for Leicester, historically. Like, we don't do good during those times. So we need some sort of cushion, I would say, to kind of get through that. So, I would say all those teams, despite the Manchester United, are teams Leicester City should beat.
Yeah. Moving on, personally, I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. Aston Villa is welcoming Wolves. Aston Villa is plus 120 at home, and Wolves is plus 255. But what intrigues me about this is the spread is set at 2.25. I like that, or not the spread, the over
Oh,
under.
I was about
The
to say,
spread.
for who?
uh, an over under set at, I mean, 2, you'd push half your money, but Aston Villa, they've been looking exciting to watch. I think they've kind of figured it out um, a little bit without Grealish now. Wolves still trying to find that attacking prowess, but I think these are two quick teams. We're going to see a lot of back and forth. It's not going to be ball control. I think this is going to be a basketball game between these two.
Yeah, and the head-to-head between the two of them, it's 5 wins for Villa, 5 wins for Wolves, 4 draws. So, they're pretty dead even kind of team right there. I hope it's an absolute shootout. I've always thought of, the Wolves to kind of be an all-out attacking team when they had Nuno, and so maybe they're a little bit less of that now. But same. I think Villa's kind of taken on that helm as well. They've got Ollie Watkins, who's a great attacker. They did lose Grealish, but it seems like they're kind of one of those teams who kind of go for it all now. Not quite the Leeds type of style, but if the over under is at 2.5, people expect goals, and so maybe it's just their lack of defense.
Maybe.
Um,
I mean, I think this international break, hopefully, I say this, I'm a Tottenham fan, but I think Wolves is a fun team. I really like them. I don't know what it is. Their fans are awesome. They just have a great team atmosphere. I hope this international break is what they needed because they have a lot of players that are on that cusp of making international rosters. And after, the start of the season, probably didn't get the call up. I'm not certain, but hopefully this is the time, to bring back everyone that's injured, get them back into the team chemistry, just really focus on what they need to be doing to win games and put the ball in the net. And I think we see a rejuvenated Wolves after this break. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, maybe Raul Jimenez can kind of get back at it. He kind of
Mm-hmm.
slowed start to the season, but he did score last game week, I believe, if not the week before. So he's one of those players who, when they were with Nuno, he was scoring every week, if not every other week. So he's a pretty top tier striker. They've changed a little bit since then, but hopefully there's the resurgence of the Wolves.
Yeah. we're gonna have to see. But now, moving on, a game that I would usually say is a relegation battle, but I guess not this year. Norwich City versus Brighton. Brighton, kind of the surprise of the season so far. Favored at plus 110. Norwich underdogs at plus 270. The over under set at 2.5. Brighton plus 110 against Norwich City seems too good to be. Seems like the odds makers know something I don't.
Well, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there is a Brighton player who was arrested who's a starter for
Oh,
sexual assault and is I think they said it was I'm trying to find it here real quick. But I think honestly that might be a big, the rumors say it was Basuma, I think kind of one of their young up and coming players who's been pretty good for them. And I was on Reddit while they were, playing detective, and they have the video of the guy getting loaded in the car, and he's wearing the same shirt and jacket as this Brighton player. Uh, so they haven't officially released the name and stuff yet. Um, but if anything, that might be the morale hit that affects the odds. It did happen right before international break, so they had some time to maybe sort it out. But Brighton would be the team that normally, yeah, I'm pulling for. I still favor them just because I like how they've been playing. Of I think they have a lot of creative, goal scoring players on there. And that's not just because I have a couple of them in my fantasy team.
well, I mean, Norwich has conceded the most this year, scored the least. They've scored 2 goals in 7 games. I mean, the under here, under 2.5. But Brighton, I don't put it past them to score at least one. I don't think they're going to be conceding. They've only conceded 5 goals all season. They're sound all around. Maybe they're not as flashy as some of the teams putting in 2-3 goals a game, but I trust Brighton here to at least win this 1-0. Plus
Yeah,
110 is just I like it.
the writing's kind of on the wall. You've had a team that's been overperforming and looks good, and then you have a team that's massively underperforming. But you know what? It seems like as soon as I'm very confident about a decision, there's some draw or Norwich has the best game of their life. And so
Yeah.
I'm still going to back Brighton, especially because they beat really good teams like Leicester City. So I feel like they can beat Norwich.
All right. And so now a game that I didn't think would be a part of the relegation story. The two teams just above the relegation zone. Southampton hosting Leeds. Southampton's a plus 135 favorite. Leeds plus 205, and the over under set at 2.75. I don't know how to call this game. This might be a game that I just completely stay away from.
I've been calling for the Southampton relegation all season. I think they're gonna get relegated. And I'm gonna shoot for Leeds on this one. Like I said, I know they are stupidly non-defensive and all-out attack. Um, I think Southampton lost Ings. They lost Vestergaard as well to Leicester City as a defender. And what Leeds just bolstered their attack. They've got Daniel James in the mix now, and they're going to give up goals, but I don't think to Southampton. So I'm gonna take Leeds. You said Leeds isn't favored this game, correct?
No, Leeds is plus 205.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet there. I would take that.
I mean, any time last season, if I saw an over in a Leeds game at 2.75, I would hammer it. But right now, they're averaging a goal a game. But like you said, they have conceded a lot this year, but I don't think it's going to be the Southampton. Southampton just hasn't figured it out since losing Ings. 5 goals in 7 games is never good. But yeah, hopefully we see a really rejuvenated and excited Leeds, but because those games are always fun to watch. But Yeah, I'm with you here. Leeds at plus 205, I think is great value for a game that I think is going to be way closer than these odds say.
The crazy thing too is that, I'm looking back at some of the Southampton games, and man, they do have some weird games, like, the 0-0s against Man Cities, the 0-0 against West Hams, the 2-2 against, well, that's Newcastle, but they can seem to hold out. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm still going to take Leeds. I think a lot of it's just because I like how they play, and I like Bielsa, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, moving on to some more parlay fodder. Man City at home against Burnley. Man City is minus 800. 2 goal favorites. Burnley's plus 2,200. Here's the thing. I just don't trust Man City to win by more than 2 goals against Burnley. I think they're a team that play just well enough to beat the team they're playing. It's not like I don't even know an example. They just don't seem to beat up on the teams they really should. As professional sports teams, all coaches say, you never take a game off, even if the team's bad. You always are going at 100%, but Man City just doesn't seem like they do that. They have some like really scary results. I mean, the 0-0 against Southampton, losing to Tottenham. I
Edging out
just,
just barely against Chelsea. It's weird though, because it seems like it is almost that way. Like there's no average game for Man City. It's like, they do have the destroying of Norwich at 5-0, the destroying of Arsenal at 5-0,
mhm.
and then it's 0-1 against Leicester City, and then it's 0-0 against Southampton, and then it's 0-1 against Chelsea. Um, it would be interesting to, it would never be admitted, but how much of their focus is probably on Champions League and European
Yeah,
football, um, as opposed to the Premier League. They're still one of those teams where I'm kind of having my fingers crossed of winter transfer window, if they bring in Holland and a natural striker, how insane that would be.
yeah,
Um, but it almost looks like they just kind of coast through these games, switching up their lineups, just waiting for the big games. The Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Arsenals to actually try.
yeah.
Almost.
It seems like they're bored with these games. It seems
Yeah,
like they can't be bothered to make the run. And, you have 2 5-0 wins, but then 3 or 4 games where they score 1 or 0.
yeah,
You don't know which team you're getting. If I have to pick anything on this game, it's going to be under 3.5. I mean, Burnley not sound at the back, but definitely not the worst team. Um, you know, 11 in 7 games. That's less than 2 goals conceded a game. Yeah, I think under 3.5. I'll probably throw Man City into a parlay just because I do think they win. It's just I have nowhere near enough confidence to put them to win by 3.
yeah. And I mean, you said it perfectly. It's whether Man City have the ability to win almost every game by 3. So it's just whether they can be bothered to do it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Brighton or Burnley, only lost 2-0 to Liverpool, lost 1-0 to Arsenal, drew Leicester 2-2. Those aren't bad results from a team that's, in the relegation battle, but yeah, I think this one is strictly a parlay fodder game, probably the under as well, but it's going to be interesting to see which Man City team comes out.
Yeah.
While it seems like they focus on Champions League. All right, the last game for Saturday. I think this one has some really good value here. Brentford is hosting Chelsea. Chelsea's minus 170. Brentford is plus 580. Over under 2.5. I think minus 170 on Chelsea. It's a little bit juicy, but I just don't see them. First of all, I don't see them conceding to Brentford. They've been sounding the back all year. And I don't know. It's Chelsea. Chelsea's looking like the favorites to win right now. They're in first place by themselves. I just don't see them losing to Brentford or even drawing.
Yeah, I don't see them losing as well. I mean, this game I've kind of been excited about. Brentford's become one of those teams. There's always one team, one or two teams each year that come up from promotion that I'm like, they are fun to watch. Brentford's
Mm-hmm.
been that team, with last minute winners or equalizers or, just being complete underdogs in games and then showing it out. They've kind of got that X factor for me that I like. Which I think will help them against bigger teams, but not against Chelsea. Chelsea is too organized, too drilled, too managed to kind of fall to that. Um, they aren't Arsenal, essentially.
Right. Right. I mean, Chelsea's kind of, I don't know, the antithesis of the problem we were talking about with Man City. It seems like Chelsea, you know what you're getting every game, right?
Yeah,
And they may only score one, they may score three in the first half, but they're playing the same way. They're always making their runs, they're always threatening. It's just a matter if they take those chances. But they just control so much of the game that their opponents just don't have the chance to respond. And that's the big thing. I think Man City allows teams to respond, whereas Chelsea is just so dominant they really don't.
yeah, and I think Chelsea enjoys playing for their manager too. Tuchel's a great manager, and I personally think people get annoyed of Guardiola after a while.
I
like
can see it.
he seems way too intense. I think he's one of those managers where like, dude, shut up. So maybe they're just being worn down, not physically but mentally
Yeah,
in training.
maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Sunday. Uh, we have a pretty interesting game to start. We have Everton hosting West Ham. Everton is plus 155, West Ham's plus 190. What are your thoughts on this one?
I kind of like West Ham in this one. I know. Um, oh my goodness, why am I blanking on West Ham's forward right now?
Um, shit.
Antonio,
Yeah, there you
jeez.
go.
I'm like, I
It was
see his face.
contagious.
I see his
I
face, and
see
I'm
his
like,
cardboard cutout being lifted in the air.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know you right now. Antonio didn't play for Jamaica against the U.S. during the international break. Um, so you got to rest. I'm not sure exactly what he's recovering from. Probably hamstring, or maybe they just didn't want to play him. That's kind of been the interesting thing about this international break is a lot of Premier League players didn't go. They don't want to go. Their teams didn't want them to go. Um, but I've liked how West Ham has played um, this year. I do think Everton has a great attack. Kind of Damari Gray, ex Leicester player, still he's on fire. He's been playing great. But I back West Ham in this one, um, even though they are not favored. I mean, it's a close one for me, but I'm going to go with West Ham. I do not take the draw. Drawings for art students, Harrison, so we don't do it.
We don't do that here.
No.
I do like the spread for West Ham at 0.25. I mean, this game could be a draw, but I really have been liking West Ham this year. And I think Everton has been benefited by a slightly easy start of the season. I mean, being up on Burnley, Norwich, then, but they've lost 4-0 to Man United. They tied Man United after they missed. That was the game that Bruno skied the penalty, right? I think
Probably.
against Everton. They beat Brighton, which is pretty good. Lose to Aston Villa. I just think Everton's a bit higher than they should be at this point in the season, and that's being taken into effect. I just like West Ham a lot more, so I'm probably going with that spread. But yeah, and now hopefully my big money maker of the weekend: Tottenham traveling to Newcastle.
These odds are
Newcastle.
silly.
These odds are silly.
These odds are
Newcastle
silly.
plus 245, Tottenham plus 115. If you give me plus odds with Tottenham against a relegation team, I am throwing I'm going to take out a mortgage and I'm going to put it on them.
Wow. Now you heard the news about Newcastle, right?
I do, but they haven't had a transfer window.
I know. I'm just saying.
Or did they like just take? Did they
You never
eat
know what
billions of
kind of
dollars of
yeah.
fines to ship in Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo?
You don't know what kind of performance enhancing drugs they can afford now. So
That's true. They can afford the best training.
we gotta love when oil money gets injected into these teams.
Not just oil money, us, the Saudi government itself.
Yes.
But don't worry, it's not them.
Yeah.
I mean, Newcastle, I think, will be revitalized because of that news. The fans are going to be crazy, but nothing's changed, right? They haven't had a transfer window. Now, if this was in February after the winter transfer window and they've made some moves, maybe. But I know Tottenham's been a little bit up and down this year, but I think that's still crazy.
How many goals
This,
has Harry Kane scored over this international break?
I think one.
I mean, that may be a big part of it. I think a lot of people aren't. It is becoming the Sun show. He is carrying that team if Harry Kane's not showing up. Um, but yeah, I looked at these odds and I was like, well, that's a nice way to make money. Honestly, you might even throw it on your parlay fodder to just kind of boost those odds a little bit. Have one of your gimmies on there.
Just might have to. Um, I mean, it was the same thing last week against, or last match week, not last week, against Aston Villa. Um, Tottenham being very up and down this year against a solid side like Aston Villa. They gave Tottenham plus money, and I took it and I made money. So why not stick with the trend of Tottenham plus money?
Very true.
I mean, if in under 2.75, Tottenham really hasn't found their shooting boots with Harry Kane, not producing. But no, I like Tottenham plus 115 here. Um, Not much more to say about it.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think I'm going to pull with Tottenham as well.
In the final game of the weekend, we have Arsenal at home welcoming Crystal Palace. Arsenal's minus 145. Crystal Palace is plus 440. The over under set at 2.5. What are we thinking here?
Oh man, if it was a couple weeks ago, I would have said those are great odds for Crystal Palace, and because Arsenal was trash. But Arsenal seems to kind of find their shooting boots with Aubameyang. Crystal Palace have kind of been settling back down. Yeah, I would take Arsenal in this one. The plus 500 does seem fun. Even the draw at plus 285, but I just do not think they have the talent to do that. Arsenal seems to kind of be getting their defense sorted out. And then they were just waiting on Aubameyang and the rest of their attackers. They've got so much firepower with Lacazette in there too. And it's just, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Arsenal on this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal at the beginning of this, I mean, been a tale of two seasons for Arsenal so far. Um, exactly what you said. If this was match week 4, way too much juice on Arsenal, and at Crystal Palace, lots of value. But it seems like Arsenal turning point, smacking Tottenham around. Uh, they drew to Brighton, but Brighton's been a great side this year. It seems like it's starting to click for Arsenal, as much as I hate to say that. But, their fans aren't calling for a manager change quite as much after the last two games. So yeah, Arsenal minus 145. I think it's decent value against a Crystal Palace team that's been struggling. Um, and over, it's even on both sides, over under 2.5. I could easily see this being a 2-1, 3-0 kind of game.
Yeah,
Don't
I think
mind
I
the
would take the
over as
over. I
well.
would take the over in this as well.
All right, and that concludes the games for this week. We need to get to your picks.
My picks. All right. Hey, we're right at 30 minutes. We did pretty good.
Look at that.
Pick 3.
Give us 3.
Do I just tank my ranking by just taking Leicester every week? I'm going to take Tottenham. Tottenham money line. I'm going to do Tottenham, Leeds, and Wolves. Let's do that.
All right. So you have
Why
Tottenham
not?
plus 115, Leeds at plus 205, Wolves at plus 255. Underdog week for you. I like it. I like it. You only need one of those to win to even out. All right. I'm going to go Tottenham, moneyline plus 115. I'm going to take Chelsea minus 1 at plus 105. I think they could definitely win by 2. And then if they just win, it's a push. And then my fourth pick is going to be a 14 parlay. We're going to take Liverpool minus 285, Man City minus 800, Chelsea minus 170, Tottenham plus 115 at plus 418.
Oh man, you just brought something in my head. Can you parlay a parlay? Parlay multiple parlays for the ultimate accumulation of betting?
Parlay inception, parlayception.
Yeah.
That would be incredible, but I think it would just be the same thing as making a bunch of the same, just combining the two parlays.
Is it? Like, hey, all 4 of my parlays have to hit.
Honestly, you should write to DraftKings right now and be like, I need parlays.
This is honestly might be like, I think this is a great idea, but it's probably so simple, like what you said. Like, Jordan, that's just the parlay hitting. So this might be the dumbest thing I've also said ever.
You just need to make a bigger team parlay. Speaking of parlays, England screwed me out of a plus 1200 parlay yesterday by not beating Hungary, which
Mm.
sucks.
Mm.
But hey, I think plus 418. I like this. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's, I mean, heavy favorites there. So
Start
I
off
would.
with heavy favorites. Add Chelsea with a weird line at minus 170, and then throw it on Tottenham. It all comes down to Tottenham. That's something I should never say. My betting should never come down to Tottenham with how they've been playing this year. All right. Any final thoughts? Any storylines from international break or non-Premier League that you want to talk about, just to expand our horizon a little?
I'll be curious if Dan was trying to make it to a Liverpool game. We'll see if he's still going to be there for the last week. So we'll see if he ended up going. But no, it's good to be back. Back talking, and we'll I have something to do on Saturday mornings and not have to go to the farmer's market now. So
Beautiful. You've
that's what
got
we've been
enough
doing.
apple cider for the
Yeah,
rest of the year. You're
blocks of
parking your ass on
cheese.
the couch on
Yeah,
Saturday morning.
yep.
Good, good, good. All right. Well, this has been episode 8 of the Better Off Premiercast. Follow us on all our socials. Better Off on everything but Twitter. Twitter's Better Off Sports. Download the app. Track your picks. Follow me and Jordan. See how we do. Besides the 3 picks we give out here. Yeah, that's about it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what we did wrong below. And yeah, have a good one.
Keep it to yourself, Dan. Peace.